What's going on, Absolute Abundis family? Here we are again with another video for you guys, and this time it's going to be a special treat. With that being said, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make a sweet and sour spread. Now, you probably heard of a spread with top ramen noodles, meats, chips, and beans or whatnot, but today I'm going to make a specific type of spread, which is the sweet and sour. But today we're here to bring you some different type of cuisine, and by chef yours truly. And like I said, in case you didn't catch it, I hinted pretty much in the last video the significance pretty much from my tattoo. So let's take a little quick recap on what that was.
This tattoo is slowly coming alive.
Alive is the key word for
alive,
sure.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this piece. Been waiting for this piece a real long time, and it's got a really big significant meaning for me. This is my little cousin, Lil Vic Gasada. He passed away from a drug overdose back when he was 20, and you know, this is my contribution to pretty much his memory, since I didn't really have an opportunity to do so. Unfortunately, during the time of his passing, I was incarcerated. And that's, that's one of the main reasons why, I'm really looking forward to this piece, because I didn't really have time to really be there for his funeral, be there for the rest of the family, and really just cope with what was actually happening, this tragedy with my little cousin.
So there you have it. Unfortunately, I was incarcerated for a few years, but a setback for a major comeback. I'm here doing more positive things with my life, sharing positive times and with my family, with Dose. And while I was incarcerated, I had to cook for myself, because jail food is not good at all. It is crap. It is very few. You do not get a good issue at all, and the food that you do get is pretty much disgusting. You get 3 meals a day, of course. You get breakfast at like 4:30 in the morning, you get lunch at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, and then you get dinner at around 4 o'clock. So you're pretty much from 4 till you go to bed like around 9 or 10, you're gonna be starving. You need food. Especially if you're working out all day, being productive in your cell or outside on the yard, you gotta have the calorie intake, you gotta have the carb intake, you have to have the protein intake, whatever it may be. And you know what? The only food we really have is the commissary. Now, commissary is pretty much outside food. As you see, these are commissary items. And you usually just find it in 7-Eleven. Now, they're not really the healthiest at all, really. But you got to make do what you have. The sweet and sour is one of my favorites that I like to make. It's not good for you at all, but it tastes amazing. When I first went to jail and I found out what a sweet and sour was, I was like, wow, that sounds disgusting. Like, why would I do that? But then people were telling me that it tastes just like the sweet and sour Chinese cuisine. Sweet and sour pork, sweet and sour chicken, sweet and sour beef, sweet and sour prawns, what have you. And I like sweet and sour food, sweet and sour Chinese food, and I think it's real delicious. So I was like, all right. So, I'll give it a shot. Boom, somebody passes me some spread, some sweet and sour. I'm like, wow, this is really delicious. Like, I can really see myself eating this on the outs. And like I said, it's really good. It's not entirely good for you, but it's really good.
Let's start this video out by giving this video a thumbs up right now. And comment down below if you've tried any other spreads or a spread similar like this. This is definitely going to be my first time trying it, and I'm excited to see, because I know Steven has talked about this sweet and sour spread for as long as we've known each other, but he's never actually had the chance to make it, and I'm excited that today is actually the day. So
luckily today's Tanya's cheat day, so she can eat some of the spread. I'm sick and tired of spread, but I'm gonna do it for you guys, the Abundis family. So drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, drop a comment, because you know what, this is not the only dish I know how to make as far as jailhouse recipes. So drop a comment. Maybe you want to see something different, maybe you want to see something specific. I know how to make a whole variety of stuff. First things first, wash your hands.
Preferably with antibacterial soap. That way you can kill your germs. And a teacher once told me to sing happy birthday to yourself while washing your hands with warm water, and it'll help kill all the germs.
One of the first things you got to do, first and foremost, is this is your pot. This is your mixer. This is going to be the finest, this is what you're going to cook your spread in. So the first thing you do is you make sure that there is no holes in this bread bag. Now you don't have to use a bread bag. You can use a bigger Ziploc bag and pretty much, enough to hold 4 soups and the rest of these ingredients. So you check the bag, you got it filled up with air, you don't feel no air or those little holes to where water or any of the ingredients leak out. So boom. Good bread bag right here. Second most important thing that you need to make a spread is hot water. If the water ain't hot, it's not gonna cook. You have ramen noodles in there, 4 ramens to be exact right now, what we're gonna be doing, putting in that bread bag. And those ramens need to cook, they need to fluff up, they need to soak up all that boiling hot water. So, grab water as so. That's a regular coffee mug. I'm gonna put 2 of these in there actually. This is one. I'd say about 1.5 minutes. You wanna make sure it's boiling. You want that boiling hot. You want that hot sriracha on that thing.
Right.
So, boom, hot water, bread bag. Next, in preparing the ingredients now, we start off with the chips. Now with these chips, what I like to do, usually people use all hot chips. Now, all hot chips is good, but it kind of takes away from the sweet and the sour. The hot chips is just that little extra kick to make it nice, hot, spicy, but you got the sweet and then you got the sour still. So it's pretty much an extra flavor, and it also adds a little bit of color, but also too, you have these chips going into the ramen and all these other ingredients, and it really just adds a really good texture to your noodle. So the best way to do this is you crush these chips up somehow. In there, we had chip bags just like this. We would stick them on the floor and we would start stomping on them with our feet. It's just to make sure that we're getting these chips real fine, just as powdery, just so it's easier for it to dissolve in the hot water. If you have chunky chips lying around, that's cool if you like that, but it's gonna be soggy chunks of chips. Like I don't like that texture of food. I don't really find that appetizing. But what it really is just to thicken, kind of like the sauce of what's going on the noodle and the rest of the spread. So that's why I like crushing it to a fine powder. Hot chips and cheese puffs. To me, cheese puffs give it a little, like I said, texture, but give it more. It's not entirely hot. It's hot and a little bit mild, and I believe the cheese puffs add a little bit more to the sweet. So I use half of these and half a bag of cheese puffs. Just like with the chips, you can leave these whole. The ramen, you can leave them whole. It really just, on your preference, whether you want full noodles, but it really doesn't matter. What I usually like doing, just to make things easier and the cooking process easier, I feel like everything is just, more micromanaged, more compact, so the water can actually go everywhere and pretty much marinate and just cook everything at once. I like crushing these up, and the way I do that is it goes from one solid ramen to a bunch of little pieces. You see that? This is what you want.
Now, I don't know if you guys did this back in the day, but like in elementary, we would crush up ramen and put the powder and just eat it like that.
That's an old school OG snack right there. But see, I'm not gonna lie, I used to do the same thing when I was young.
Yeah.
But I kept it like this, and I would just sprinkle the seasoning pack on it, and I would take chunks out of it like a sandwich. But you can do it that way too. You got a whole bunch of this, a whole bunch of little mini chips, sprinkle the seasoning pack in there.
Yeah.
Same thing. you will hear that sound all over the tier and the module or the building or the unit. When you hear that sound, somebody's whipping up a spread. And that's when you hear on the wire, "Let me get a taco." shoot me some of that spread.
And did you guys share?
Of course we share.
That's good.
Sharing is caring. Can't be selfish and negative in a place like that, man. You gotta build up people. You gotta share with the unfortunate. You know, just good karma, good vibes, positivity all the way around. Especially in a negative place like that. So what I'm gonna do, what I'm doing right now is I got this much of hot chips left. Pretty sure this is all I'm gonna need. So I'm filling the rest of this bag up with the cheese puffs. So So now I got the bag pretty much like this. Half of it hot chips, half of it cheese puffs. This should be more than enough chips for 4 soups. Keep in mind you have to adjust the measurements of your ingredients, of your chips, of your meat, of your Kool-Aid, depending on how many soups you're putting in, because you put in too many soups and not enough ingredients, it's gonna come out bland, and that's not an A1 spread. We can't condone that. It's gonna suck. Sour. So look, I'm just over here just crushing up the cheese puffs because I know they're gonna be the easiest to crush up, just like this. But
okay. So no stomping on them.
Yeah, I will. I'll be stomping on it in a little bit. And flip. Like I said, you want this to a fine powder just so it dissolves the best in the hot water. And pretty much just for the texture. You want good texture with the noodles. So you want this to be as fine as possible. That's why we pretty much, when we was in there in the cell, we pretty much did tap dances on these chip bags to flatten these chips up as best as possible.
Now remember, you want this formed into a nice powdery, super fine powdery form.
Give you a little look up in there. Most of the cheese puffs are crushed. As you can see, the hot chips are just a little bit harder to crush down. You got a bunch of chunks. So what I do is I pretty much just find them like this and I just crush them, the little remnants up with my fingers. Like I said, the better you can make this a fine powder, the better your results are going to be as far as the texture of your spread. The texture and the water control are your biggest key components of making a pretty dope spread.
So the chip powder is all crushed up.
Got our crushed up soups.
Crushed up soups. Okay.
Now it's time for the Kool-Aid. Now in there we had bags of Kool-Aid. 112 grams of Kool-Aid cost like $2 in there. So that's how we measured how much Kool-Aid we put into the spread. For 4 soups, you use one of those Kool-Aid packs, so it's 112 grams. This is more than 112 grams, so I'm gonna have to weigh this out. Probably put like an extra gram over, just in case. Can't go wrong with it being a little bit more sweeter. Definitely nothing wrong with it being more sweeter. And you know what? I like using fruit punch. Now in there was fruit punch, there was cherry. Cherry was fruit punch was A1, but out here we got tropical punch, so I'm kind of looking forward to see what the difference is going to be with some tropical punch and actual Kool-Aid, because in there we had the off-brand bootleg Kool-Aid and it was good, but this is the one. Here we got dill pickle. These are the little chips. We used to just get the whole pickle, but this is the same one, pretty much same type of flavor, taste. So we got the dill pickle chips. I prefer dill pickle over kosher dill. It's more sour. We want to bring more of the sour taste in it. We got enough of the sweet because the kosher pickles are a little bit sweeter compared to just the regular dill sandwich chips over here, because the kosher pickle is a little bit more sweet compared to the regular dill pickle, and the reason for the dill pickle is actually to get and put that sour taste inside the spread. I like my pickles bite-sized pieces, like little pieces. So here I chopped up all the pickle. I left the juice, a little bit of juice left in there. I'm actually gonna add just a little bit more of the juice. Should be enough. Don't really need too much. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna slice up this salami. Salami is all I can really find. I really prefer beef log, but I couldn't really find it. So Italian dried salami should work the same as long as you have your meat. This is another thing we use for the meat is pork cracklins. I use pork cracklins specifically just because they're more crunchier, they're tougher than regular pork skins or chicharrones as they're called. And the reason being that you use pork cracklins is that you get the crunch. So when you're throwing in all your hot water, your meat and everything into the spread, pork cracklins aren't gonna get soggy.
Absolute Abundis family. I don't know about you guys, but I am starving and I cannot wait.
I am starving.
I cannot wait to try this.
So here we have our meat. I'm gonna put it into the pickle juice. Now here, this is my little secret specialty. All I do is I just put like a spoonful, maybe two. Nothing really too crazy. Preserves work the best just because it, it's chunky. It's more closer to the actual fruit. And then I just put a little dash of soy sauce. Get to pouring. Got our noodles. I'm gonna throw in our chips. Give it a little shake. Better. Want to be kind of careful. The ramen might poke out of the bag, so not too crazy with your mixing everything around. Now time for the water. Make sure this is boiling hot, hot boiling. As you see, I'm using the STALK. This is what I used to use, and you will see why I use the STALK. So you got to make sure you pour this in. We'll get that going. I got more water in the microwave right now, but we can get this going. Yeah, the STALK is to protect you because it is very hot. So now we got the rest of our water. We got a towel right here just in case. But the towel is used to keep the warmth, keep the water hot, keep the noodle hot. Now I'm just massaging everything together. You got the chips in there, the noodle. You want to make sure you want to make sure the noodles are getting a little bit more broken down, breaking down the little chips. You see the texture right now. It's a little watery right now, but after I'm done whipping it up, boom, whip, see that? Just whipping that thing. That's all you gotta do. Make sure you whip it. There's a technique. If you know any spread makers out there ain't doing it like this, I don't know. You might get a good spread, or you might just get a mediocre spread. Send us a picture of your spread. And like I said, you don't have to always use the ingredients I'm using. You can make up, you can really put anything in a spread. A spread's main purpose is to pretty much just get you full, feed your stomach so you ain't starving throughout the night until breakfast at 4:30 in the morning. You already start seeing the texture. You see that it's the water level. You don't see much water. It is creamy. You see it creamy. It's not dry at all. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna leave it as it is. We're gonna wrap this thing like so. We're just gonna let these things cook while I heat up the meat. Probably put that in for like a minute. A minute should be fine. Here you got the meat. See, you got a little bit more moisture in there. You got the pickle juice. We're only probably gonna use half these pork cracklins. We're gonna throw in the rest of these pickles. And at the same time, we're gonna throw in the Kool-Aid. Now, my little tip or trick that I use for any type of spread, or even with the sweet and sour, sometimes you might have put too much liquid in there at first. So that's why you have Kool-Aid, maybe a little bit more extra chips to regulate the wetness of the spread. Get a good focus on this texture. You see how it's creamy. There is not an overflow of water. It is not dry. It is nice and creamy. Half bag of pork cracklins, just used half of that. Most of the meat's right here. As you see, it's still dry, so you want to put all the wet stuff on top. Boom. Added our pickle. Gonna add our meat. And then, just like how I was doing when I first put in the water, you're just gonna whip and stir, whip and stir. Now let this baby cook for about 5 to 7 minutes.
Nice. Check this out, guys. Wow. I can't wait to try it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. That came out good. Came out real good for me actually making it out here.
So now, I'm gonna try this for the first time. Here it is. Mmm. This does taste like sweet and sour. Oh my god. Alright guys, so I got to try the sweet and sour, and I must say it was delicious. It was very good. I want you guys to give it a try and let us know how you guys liked it down in the comments below. We're gonna close out today's video here. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you want to know other recipes that Steven has, like he mentioned before, there's more than one. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button for a post notification, and leave a comment down below for a chance to win a post notification shout out. Today's shout out goes out to Rainy Rivera. Thank you so much for being part of the Absolute Abundis family. You already know we love you, and like we always say, we'll be back with more videos.
Stay tuned.